But the problem with trying to play 3 right now is just with how the game is.
And the
Like,
artifact power.
Yeah, if I switch, like, I have good legendaries for AF. I don't have the hood yet, but I have good legendaries for AF, and I have all the best legendaries for destruction. That's great.
Yeah.
I can consistently play both of them. But if a fight comes up where I want to play Demonology, I only have Kha'Zix and the shared legendaries, which the chest for demo isn't that good. And the ring, I don't think is anything special either.
Sandori's is decent.
No, not really.
The ring for
Sandori's
Demonology.
fight, but it's not great.
So, see, that's what I was going. I wasn't even going for Kha'Zix. I was trying to fish for Sandori's to get for destruction, which is just a problem in itself. Having a fucking legendary that's bis for a different spec, but can only be obtained by
a Demonology Warlock. You have to be Demonology spec to get Sandori, which is best.
So and Demonology doesn't even want it. Demonology doesn't even want it as
It's dumb.
It's like Affliction doesn't want Sandori's either because we don't use service. We use supremacy.
Well, there was a time where the Sims suggested service would be better, and then soul shards hit everyone in the face and like, fuck this.
It was like the big swinging dick of Blizzard's prosperity.
715 when Affliction Warlocks were only well, it was only a spec that took up some space so that you
it was
didn't
a
just have
spec that you would switch to during trash, so your Warlocks could like just tear through everything, and then on bosses they would switch to Demonology.
I'll tell you how to do it though.
Yeah.
Someone said in my chat real quick, would you rather that you're able to get legendaries for all specs at any given time, like they're all shared within the same pool, or do you like being able to specify which spec you
that
want?
would make the most sense.
I definitely like being able to specify the spec, because if I want to play destruction, no, I don't want to get demonology. Pardon me, demonology legendaries or affliction legendaries. Just by chance, no, I don't want to do that. I
would kill myself.
Yeah,
no, I would kill myself. I have 2 legendaries to go. One of those 2 will be the Hood of Eternal Disdain. If they opened it to all of the specs, I would fucking kill myself, because I know I will not get the Hood of Eternal Disdain. So, no, I like the fact that I can target it, but at this point, with the failure that is the legendary system, because, I mean, you can say what you want, it's the worst system ever implemented.
Yeah, it's fucking
Blizzard may as well just... They may as well just up the drop rate to 100%, give everyone all of the legendaries out there, and try and work from there. Because right now, it's a meat. It's so bad.
It's like you can only have 2 legendaries equipped at a time anyway.
Well, I think one of the major flaws, for me, personally, I've never talked about it, but I fucking hate, is that I'm playing Affliction. I'm stuck with Pride and Portal Pants back in the day.
Oh god,
I'm fucking struggling, and this is when Hood was like 25% or whatever it was.
Yeah,
before
20%. It was like almost. It was like 30% at that point.
Like almost 30% or whatever. And they put in new legendaries, and I was sitting there like, what? No. I'm like 1 in 4 chance to get the one I want. And they're like, oh, by the way, here's 2 more. So now you're 6 chance to get the one you want, and I still don't fucking have it. Like, who thought that was a good idea to add more?
All I gotta say, boys, is this is Blizzard's logic right here. It's just...
But I would literally make it 100% drop chance. Give everyone like 2 days, get all of the legendaries in the game, and work it from there. The legendary system have failed. Trying to continue to make it hard to get. Right now, if I get Hood of Eternal Disdain, I'm not going to go, yes! I'm just going to go, for fuck's sake, finally. Now I can switch to Destruction and start gathering those legendaries. And then I'll cry again, because I'll obviously get Feretory of Souls last. It's definitely not going to be my first legendary.
Hey, as long as you don't get Lessons last, it doesn't matter. Lessons is all around the best legendary.
Yeah, for Destro,
I know that.
really anything
I'm not
with a
even
stat pool.
on me getting Lessons, mate.
You're not even thinking about it.
Like,
that
my first 2 legendaries,
I
shit you not, my first 2 legendaries, the first one I got was in like about the first week or 2 of the expansion, and it was fucking Pillars of the Dark Portal.
Yep, that was my
I was like, okay, this is great, but I mean, I got a legendary, but what am I gonna use this for realistically?
And here, let's not forget the other huge fuck up. That was the glitch at the start of the expansion, where if you got a legendary, it exponentially increased your chance to get another legendary.
Yeah.
How busted was that? So the people that were ahead of the curve and doing those mythics and stuff were getting 2-3 legendaries by the time people had their fucking first.
Yeah.
What they should have done. This is my opinion, and this is what I feel should have been the implementation from the start of the expansion. It should have been a token-based system where you get a spec-based token based on your loot specialization, whatever you wanted the legendary for, and then you could go and turn that token in and get a random legendary for that spec. Or you could save up 2 of them and turn 2 tokens, which would normally net you 2 legendaries, into one specific legendary. So like, that way you had to sacrifice. For example,
like you were an Affliction Warlock, you could turn those 2 tokens in for Hood of Eternal Disdain. And if you stockpiled 4, you could turn them in for the best of slot legendaries at that time, which were the Hood and the Bracers.
Exactly. But you have to remember, theoretically speaking, you could open that first token and get the one that you wanted. Yeah. So it's it would have been a gamble of like, do I chance it or do I save up and guaranteed get the one that I want? I think that would have been.
Yeah, that would have been a way better system.
Something that made it targetable to some extent. Wasn't Blizzard supposed to add a targetable system in?
They did. I think that's the form of the Nether Shard gear. That's what that is.
Did someone mention to Blizzard that thing is fucking impossible?
It's like
did someone explain?
That's actually where I got my lessons of space-time from.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Fucking hell, man.
I have one of our hunters. Now this is quite one of the hunters in the guild. He switched from Resto Druid to Hunter, and then he's a guy that Jimmy. He loves playing tricks on people. Like he loves triggering people, and the other hunter was still looking for his boots, right?
Those guys.
So he went out. He spent more than a few weeks spam farming nether shards and buying boots from the nether shard vendor so that he could get the legendary boots before Krippers got them. This was his first legendary that he was going for. It took him, I think, 58 boots to open to get his first boots legendary. Now, I mean, and he did it. He kept fucking doing it, dude. He kept farming those fucking boots.
So what you're supposed to do, and I'm going to tell, here's a little insider tip, and I'm pretty positive that this is like one of the most, there we go. One of the most efficient ways to actually get the legendary you want is like you honestly have to like develop this feel for how close you think you might be to a legendary. Like for me, I'll do X amount of dungeons, I'll do X amount of raids, and over time, thank you for the sub, over time will get to the point where I'm like, hold on, I kind of feel like I should be getting one here lately. They're here pretty soon. So then I'll go and I'll open all my Legion Fall caches and open those all up, and if I don't get anything, it's at that point where I will buy tokens with Nether Shards and try to target that legendary. Because at that point you've stockpiled up all that fucking RNG, all that luck protection, and now you can focus it on that one piece. And I think that's why I got lessons.
Like
I'm due. This week or early next week, I'll get my legendary.
Like I won't get one for a little while.
When I
which will be Norgonauts. Fucking know it.
Yeah, well, I got probably the Bracers and Sacrolash. I basically was running like Nighthold pretty much on clockwork with my guild at the time. We were like, I got out of Heroic, then we got into Mythic, and as soon as we got, I believe it was Scorpion down on Mythic, I got those Bracers to drop. That was the only thing. I didn't care what else dropped off of Scorp. I'm just like, I got the goddamn Bracers finally. I can get rid of Pride as.
Sup, Limit. This is probably the meme summit.
It's
Lemos, he's a legitimate subscriber. He's asking what is this? Is this the meme summit?
It's the
for subbing.
The pinnacle of memedom.
Yeah, probably. All right, so I wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to move on to 7.3, just because. Before we get into majority of the questions, I'm going to ask my chat and everyone's chat. If you guys have questions for us, start listing them now. Just ask as many questions as you could possibly fucking want to ask.
Yeah.
And we'll answer as many of them as possible. But I wanted to move on to 7.3. What are you guys most excited for 7.3? Either Warlock-wise or just in terms of the patch itself. What are you most excited for?
You go first, Woody. It's all you. I'll be ranting for a while.
Personally, I'm actually excited to see how Destruction stacks up in 7.3. I'm actually considering main spec rolling over to Destruction. Overall, I think Destruction's, like, from what I've seen on PTR, looks really good. It's not like, it's hitting a lot harder for me, it looks like. So I'm seeing those big dick Chaos Bolts again. Which feels really satisfying to see something just fucking explode. Just from getting to fucking cry havoc on them. Overall, I'm also excited to see how just Warlock in general stacks up in the raid tier for 7.3. It's not much. Like, the storyline looks really good from what I've seen. The problem is PTR for me lags like a bitch, so I can't really test much of it out.
Honestly, for me, I'm going to be totally honest with you, and people that watch my channel just for Warlock content, you might hate me, but I don't give a fuck about Warlock next tier. It could literally be the worst spec in the game, and I don't give a shit. I am so excited for the raid. It's not even fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
Like the lore, it's like the literal fucking climax of what we've been dealing with for the last like fucking 5 expansions. All of this shit has been leading up to finally
they're gearing us up
confronting
to
the
come,
Legion.
and then finally they're letting
We're
us
dealing
go.
we're fighting titans, like bruh. Like sure they might be like not the full titan, you know, like the titans lore speaking are huge. But these avatars of the titans, it's like, dude, this is real. This is actually happening right now. So that's what I'm definitely most excited for. And I'm excited also. I guess I can't say I'm excited for that because we're not getting our animations in 7.3. So
no, we're not.
They're apparently they forgot about us. So we'll have to sit and wait for.
Warlocks are like totally the memeiest community. Like Blizzard's always gonna forget about us because that's why we can't have nice things.
It's because we're too toxic.
Yeah,
we're too
toxic apparently.
That's the problem. That's the problem. We're too toxic. We can't have nice things. Fucking Blizzard.
Meanwhile, we're ripping into this with like just smarmy grins because we can't really hate them at this point.
To be fair though, after seeing what they did with some of the mage animations and shit like that, I'm pretty confident that it's gonna be pretty impossible for them to fuck our spell animations up once they redo them. Like we have some really cool spells. Like if they somehow manage to fuck Chaos Bolt up, which I know is gonna get reworked, it's going to. If they somehow manage to fuck that up, then that will be the end of the game for me. Like that's it.
Yeah,
Bye.
they fuck up Chaos Bolt's animation.
I have a feeling that Chaos Bolt is going to be epic, right? I just because I can see it in my mind's eye. I can see this big fuck off bolt, just a ball of chaos, just fucking into a target and destroying it. So there's so much they can do with demonology, with affliction, well, affliction not so much. What kind of spell animation do you have? My hands wave a little bit differently when I dot.
It's gonna be like this swirl of shadowy, ghosty, gonna swirl around you.
I don't know. I think there's a point where you can't fucking okay, for affliction there's not much they can do.
Nah, not
but
really.
Definitely for destruction, I would like to see the fiery animation make its return from burning embers. Like when you had 4 burning embers, you could see the fire
like
coming out of
fire,
your Warlock.
but they had to give it to the mage for combustion.
Yeah, but I would like to see that make its way back in some form to destruction, because it kind of fills it plays into the chaotic part of it. The destruction Warlock will sacrifice his own health in order to destroy the target. So getting yourself on fire seems like a pretty good way of fucking yourself over. Yeah. So that would be something I'd like to see. But we'd have to.
One thing with affliction specifically that I feel like is affliction does share. You're dying over there, Accolonn. What's wrong? What happened?
One of the guys in chat says it's because Ian has a cactus, doesn't like Warlock.
He doesn't, man. I'm trying to tell you.
What I was gonna say is that I feel like with affliction, it's kind of a hard area to add animations to, only because it does share so many similarities with how Unholy Death Knight functions, because Unholy Death Knight's all about disease and the plague, and when you actually think about what affliction is, it's the same thing.
It's also like a shadow priest.
You're putting an affliction on them, like it's disease and shadow. So kind of what I would like to see is almost like I don't know if Death Knight still has it, but they had something called
Death and Decay. No, not Death and Decay.
No, it was like their pestilence or whatever,
pestilence.
where there was like bugs and disease and stuff around them. And I feel like because it's such a dot spec, you can't really add too many animations to the dots, and so they have to add player-based and target-based auras to where you can see that something is happening to the target or something is happening to you. You know, like, the fact is that, like, when you use Reap Souls, I don't pay attention, so please just immediately correct me if something actually happens when you hit Reap. But when you hit Reap, like, for me, there should be this, you just sucking the fucking soul, like, out of whatever. I don't know.
Hit Reap, usually the souls do launch.
I think there's a small animation.
It's these all these purple balls, which they call souls. I don't know why the souls are purple.
I think they're just purple, like, Kazakh scrotums.
It's purple balls. It's purple balls that just all make its way into you. And then your PC gets, like, a little bit of an FPS spike when you have too many fucking pulled in.
That come out of nowhere. That's about it. Because if you're doing, like, if you're fighting a fucking whatever boss, XYZ boss, like, you're just collecting souls, and it's just like that. You're just kind of, if they're just so plentiful wherever you are, why can't you run around and pick them up? And you have to rely on RNG.
Same thing I had with soul shards. It's like a combo point system, but it's not. Like, they had this on this, like, watered down fucking combo point system. Or like a towel.
They're escaping from your weapon, as far as I know. Yes, your weapon is the Ultharish the Deathwing Harvester. And, you know, so he has the souls inside him. But then at the same time, it's not souls, right? It's just these purple fucking balls. Why not have them be souls, like actual fucking souls? But okay,
Every so often, it does look like actual souls, because you can see, like, the animation of, like, a ghost that you kill, of the thing that you killed.
You killed the target.
If you killed it.
But say you're doing a single target fight and you're randomly just getting the souls coming to you. It's like, where are those coming from? Like, hello? Well, I can't, like.
I'm like a sponge soaking up all the souls in an ether.
Motherfucker can only hold 12 souls. Like, what? That's pretty weak.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
12 souls makes you last a minute.
Fucking falls off of affliction. But in terms of like. I don't think in terms of animation there's much that they could do for the casting animation so much as they could for the spell effects. And as you said, Pyro, I'd love to see some auras, right? Because when you cast Agony, the only thing is this little fucking thing happening above the guy's head. And it's like, the fuck's that? Why is there a thing coming out of his head? And that's about it. Corruption, I don't think Corruption has anything on it. And then really, Unstable Affliction also nothing. So you're essentially just stuck with this.
It's RPPM with souls. That's the sad part.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. For 7.3 though, in terms of 7.3, I have to be with Pyro there. I couldn't give two shits what happens to the Warlock. This is what we've been waiting for, because this reminds me of ICC opening.
Yeah.
In Wrath of the Lich King, right? We've been playing this expansion. Anyone who's played Warcraft knows what ICC was about. They knew who the Lich King was and how he became the Lich King.
Yeah.
And everyone who's played WoW since Vanilla or even since DBC, we know who the Burning Legion is. We know who Sargeras is. We're going to fucking get them now. This is our time. You know, Illidan is no longer the betrayer.
Your time is up. Great. My time is now.
Yeah, so we're gonna finally get to see the everything comes to a close, right? Which unfortunately ruins a lot of people's dreams with Jaina being a Dreadlord.
Does
because she can't be a Dreadlord now.
No. But you also don't think, what are we going to do in 8.0? Because after we fought the Titans, essentially, the only thing we'd have left to fight would be like the remaining old gods, like N'Zoth.
Guess where we're going.
N'Zoth, we're going into the ocean.
Dude, there is way. I will just say this, and I'm not novel. Obviously, if I did, I'd have more viewers. Yeah. But there is way too much Void presence, way too much for it to not be the Void. Like, if they somehow try and fit something in after this, literally part of the reason that the Void has not been around as much in presence is because, one, it's hard for them to manifest physically in the universe which Azeroth exists in. They come from a different plane of reality.
Like Lovecraft.
Sargeras and the Legion. Like, Sargeras' ultimate goal is to destroy Azeroth. In my opinion, part of the reason for that, I feel like it might be a little late, and something within Azeroth, perhaps even the Titan Soul, is partially starting to become corrupt by old gods at this point. We've had Yogg-Saron, we've had Il'gynoth, we've had
Yshiraj.
Yeah, all those old gods.
Just N'Zoth left.
N'Zoth is left.
It's like that's got to be where it goes.
And honestly,
But here's the thing. The old gods corrupt the world soul, right? So Enzoth has been around since vanilla, corrupting the world soul. We've killed the other old, or at least we've imprisoned the other old gods. But Enzoth has been still doing it now. He is still busy corrupting the world soul. So
unless it turns out that Azeroth is actually so powerful, as it's speculated that she at this point is.
Yeah.
That he's actually not had influence on her, and she's been warding him off. But who knows?
I would say it's most likely the former. And it's like there's like starting to be corruption from not only Yogg's influence, but Cthulhu, Yishira's, as well as N'Zoth.
Did they put a pre-patch quest out yesterday? Did they do a pre-patch quest?
Yeah. There was a pre-patch.
I didn't do it.
To go speak to. No, I haven't done it either yet.
I haven't done it either.
Someone in my chat said with the quest that came out yesterday, we see that Azeroth is being corrupted currently. So I don't know. I'll have to look into that, but I didn't know that they put a quest out.
I actually forgot about it because I got it last night just before I logged off, and then I wanted to do it today and I didn't fucking do it. So I'll go do it after the stream. I definitely have to go see, because you have to go speak to the fucking Bronzebeard guy.
Yeah.
The weird diamond dwarf.
Magni.
But yeah. Magni Bronzebeard, yeah. But okay, so for 7.3, I think that's definitely the thing I'm looking forward to most. In terms of gameplay or systems introduced in the game, is there any system that you guys feel like you can't wait for this? For me, it's the Netherlight Crucible.
I have really systems that I taste that out. I have systems that I wish would go away, like the Titan Forging system. But I really haven't looked into the Netherlight Crucible at all. I know it's going to be prevalent for me if I do raid at a competitive level. I'm going to need to pay attention to it, but I honestly haven't looked into it at all. I've been just so engrossed with the idea of what we're going to Argus for.
Yeah.
One thing I will say about Argus is that, and it kind of sucks to say this because I loved the first zone. The introduction with Terralia and Alaria. Your camera's really struggling right now, Grim. All that stuff that's okay. That's going on. I feel like Argus, unfortunately, does have a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of really big skyboxes, and textured walls that you can't actually interact with. You can't get to them. They have no significance. They're just there for looks. But I understand that as well to an extent because it's one patch development cycle. It's a patch. It's not. This is the first time we've seen 3 zones introduced with a patch. So I can't really complain too much, but I do feel like there's a little bit of the grandeur and excitement taken away from Argus because of how they designed some of the areas on Argus.
Yeah.
But overall, I just can't wait for the raid.
The city in the sky, what's it called again? Fucking Macquarie. Yeah. Macquarie looks really fucking good. It looks so fucking good. I was there the other day on my Warrior, just questing through it, making some videos on it. And it's really fucking beautiful. So I think there's going to be a few epic areas in there. And as I said, the Netherlight Crucible essentially just allowing you to add extra things onto your relics. So you can get the traits that you actually want, which is great. It removes some of the fucking RNG from this game.
Only some of it, though.
I would like to see... Now, this is a question that I would actually ask you. We didn't discuss this question beforehand, but it's something I just thought about. In the new expansion, if the new expansion gets released, what systems do you want removed from the game instantly?
Titan Forging and Legendaries.
Pyromancer and I are on the
Forging, Legendaries, and any form of a garrison. Don't give a fuck. Like people, and here's the thing: there's a lot of masking that Blizzard has done in this expansion that new players especially don't realize. World quests are literally dailies, and people bitched to the end of the world about dailies when they were something that you generally had to do. But now, because they're masked as world quests and they have a better cycling of quests, people don't mind it as much.
I still know it's dailies, so I
need to do them. I don't do them at this point because I have most of the legendaries. I don't really care. I
do it for AP.
Titan Forging needs to go. The artifact system was cool in theory, but the endless Paragon grinding for it, dumb.
It was great in theory, but awful in practice.
It honestly, for me, totally honest here, if I could have them completely revert a change, it would be Mythic rating. Mythic rating would go out the window.
Yeah.
I would love for them to go back to Heroic and Normal and Flex and just have 10-man Heroic and 25-man Heroic. So that way it gives people that want to raid in a small condensed group but still push the hardest content, the ability to do that without having to upscale their raid size, I feel like that alone has had such a negative impact on the raiding community. This expansion. That's part of why we've seen some of these really good guilds quit and stop, because guilds like Paragon originally were a 10-man raiding guild. Then they had to transition to
25
to compete with Mythic. 20 man, because when Mythic came out, it went to 20, and it's just a really weird gray area. I don't like Mythic raiding at all. I wish it was heroic.
I don't like Mythic raiding either. Mainly, like, I'm more the type of person that would rather have like normal and hard mode, like hard mode from Ulduar.
Sure.
I think that actually was really fun for me, because like the funnest times I had raiding were with hard mode, Ulduar.
Well, I think
Go ahead, Accolonn.
No. For me personally, I break away a bit from the Mythic one, where I like Mythic raiding in theory. In practice, though, I would like to see it made harder. There's a reason why I'm saying this. Mythic is supposed to be the top of the top, right? Only the base people in the world should be able to clear Mythic. Yet, you consistently see guilds clearing 3 out of 4, 3 out of 9, 4 out of 9, 5 out of 9, sometimes even 8 out of 9 towards the end of a patch. Through Blizzard nerfing the shit and Blizzard making the shit easier and easier. And I think what happens now is you're starting to put expectations on certain guilds. So you create expectations from guilds that they should be able to do Mythic, no matter what they do, right? So even if they aren't that good, they should be able to do at least the first few bosses on Mythic. Whereas if you made it so hard that it's literally just meant for the top 5% in the world to do, I feel like that would, first of all, probably take a lot away from what your problem is with it, Pyro. But then also, I'd like to see Alifar made, well, it can stay as easy as it fucking is. It doesn't matter. But then normal should be harder, because it's a group of people you have to organize around. Normal should be harder, and heroic should be a lot harder.
The fact for me that there's actually legitimate mechanical differences between normal and heroic is retarded. I don't know why they started doing that. Like
that was like a thing they started doing in
normal,
HFC.
Like when I go into normal, I'm just like, wait, that mechanic doesn't even happen. Why do I have this talent? What the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, someone in my chat does make a point that if they overtune Mythic to be so hard, Cruzio says this, that not a lot of people could do it, then you're creating content for a small percentage of people. I think to an extent that's fair, because there is a lot of development and testing time that goes into the Mythic raiding. So if it is going to be so difficult, you are limiting the players who can do that, which means your development time to the actual amount of players taking part in that content ratio is not that good.
It's like way more time's getting put into actually people playing it.
Honestly, I think, this is just my opinion, having been a Mythic Raider through Siege of Orgrimmar, A Throne of Thunder, Siege of Orgrimmar, all the raids in Warlords of Draenor, and all the raids in this expansion, I'm actually pretty happy with the difficulty of most of the bosses. I think that bosses like Mistress were probably a little overtuned for being the 5th boss in the instance. A little overtuned, in my opinion, or 6th boss, I guess, technically. And then to go even further to that, Avatar, which we're progressing on right now, is unbelievably punishing. If you fuck up the mechanics on that, you just die. Maiden's the same way, where the fight itself holistically isn't that difficult, but what we're seeing in a lot of the fights nowadays that enhances the difficulty, not on a mechanical level necessarily, but it's instantaneous.
It's artificial level.
It's instantaneous white mechanics where the fight is not that hard, but if you do make that mistake, you all die.
Yeah.
You don't get it.
It's this artificial difficulty that I like to see slightly looked at differently, because the fights aren't really that hard for the most part.
Well, I have Bob was saying, if I might add, Mythic raiding does allow for Blizzard to tune raids and boss abilities. If you allow scaling on the highest difficulty, then people will find breakpoints for certain boss abilities. And I think that is true, though. If you allow flex, we'll get the same thing we saw in, was it Firelands, where
Firelands, I believe.
guilds would tune the amount of people that they take to a specific boss, because if you go more, you fuck yourself over. If you go less, you make it too hard. So they would. Was it Firelands? I can't remember, but one of the flex raids that was out, people would tune their abilities. I can't even remember.
It could have been a mop raid.
No, I think it was mop. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't Fireland. Yeah, it was definitely not Fireland. Yeah, for a second I was like, wait a second, we didn't have the luxury of fucking flexing shit in Fireland. There were nights where we couldn't raid.
Yeah, it was just normal and heroic.
But one thing that's always been a really, really excellent point to me is that no matter what, in a raid, you're going to have 2 tanks, minimum. That's generally what the rule is. And back when they had 10-man and 25-man, what a lot of people saw was improper balancing in 25-man versus 10. So there were certain... Yeah, Siege of Orgrimmar, there were certain fights, especially in Siege, that were way harder for 10-man guilds than they were for 25-man guilds, and vice versa. Yeah, making that first intermission push on Heroic Garrosh as a 10-man guild was so AIDS because you had the same amount of ads to hit, whether it was 10-man or 25-man. It was the same. Yeah. It was the same number. So, but you had less players to crowd control it. But it also made other parts of the fight easier because there was, less damage going out because it was scaled for 10-man.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. When it comes to raid scaling, it's a really gray and hard area to tune, and I think that's probably why they went to Mythic, because it's uniform 20-man.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd rather do a fight and have it be a little bit harder because I'm 10-man than half being forced to raid with 20 people when I don't want to.
Why don't we make it... Why don't they just lower the amount to, say, 15-man?
I mean...
I don't know.
If you have a 15... Because... 15 is easy to get around, yeah? You could very easily get a group of 15 people together. 20 people is a bit harder.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm saying 15 because we have about 15 very good players in our guild. So it would be great if we could go with 15 people in the fucking raid.
That's how I felt. How I felt when I was in Vulgar for a little bit. Was like there was some pretty great players in Vulgar, but there was like 10 or 11, maybe 12 that were really good. And if we could have just had those 12 and just gone with that, it would have been so much better. That's not to take away from the other people. I mean, there's in every guild you're going to have a couple players that lag behind. That's inevitably going to happen. But
you're going to have those that shine above the others.
Raid scaling is difficult, especially with honestly with how complex some of the mechanics and some of the new fights are. When you look at mechanical complexity versus a lot of the past fights, these are some of these are pretty complex fights. I mean, all things considered. So,
well,
I don't know
if they could. Maybe I think for the next raid, I hope that the content creators at least spoke to one another.
Yeah.
So we don't have a fucking soak mechanic on every single boss inside the raid. That would be fucking great.
Yeah.
If maybe they could just space those out, every second boss would be fucking amazing. But Ian has a Costas, or has a Coctus already fucking... Well, no. According to the people in the chat, it has a Coctus. But Ian has a Coctus.
He cucked us?
He cucked us. That's what he did. He's cucked the locks.
Fucking cocklord, that guy. But at least he used Warlock examples in the recent development.
We'd rather you not play Affliction. Ian has a Coctus.
Oh God. Yeah, I don't know.
That was the worst thing in Warlords of Draenor, when he actually said, you know what, we're okay with you not playing Demonology. It's like, the fuck?
Yeah, he just said Demonology is dead.
That was the development cycle where they said internally, we're going to have these mechanics for Demon Hunter, and we're going to take them away. So we don't really care if you play Demonology right now, because we're going to change it all. That's why they did that. Because it was at that point in their development behind the scenes, they already knew.
They just said, fuck Demonology.
Yeah, they already knew. And on the note of Demonology, I wanted to ask this earlier, but I kept getting sidetracked. What would you do, and I'll start with Accolonn on this one, what would you do to Demonology to make it something that you would want to play? Whether it's just removing an ability or two, changing an ability, or completely reworking how the spec goes, what would you do to make it something you'd want to play?
All right, so I would completely rework it. I would first of all make your demons your main source of damage, not dot-wise. So you have demons that you summon, and I would bring back the Demonic Fury bar, where you have a bar that you fill up to 100, and then you use this Demonic Fury to start summoning demons. The demons you life and demonic. It becomes a kind of balancing act. Am I going to go into burst? This means I'm going to summon a crap ton of demons, but they're going to